This is Michta Bracha. It was written in Tammuz, Tavshin Pei Dalet, okay? So a couple months ago. He says about 4 years ago, the Rebbetzin, this is what the letter says, this is Zvi Kushelevsky writing. The Rebbetzin Shetichya brought me the Sefer of Rabbi Yitzchak Huberman. Why? Because he said he'll daven for anyone who will say over his Divrei Torah for any Yeshua. Now somebody emailed me, somebody said, one second, when the Ben Lashvi said he's going to daven for you, did he mean only when he's alive or even afterwards? So I'm an honest guy. I said, I wrote back to him right away. I said, I have no idea. I can't tell you what that's. I didn't ask him. But all I know is I have a letter from Zvi Kushelevsky that says that he considers that the promise of the tzaddik continues even after his demise. Because he wrote it in the, right? He says, the Rebbetzin told me, the tzaddik propens, v'davar pashir bar sheyesh kayach rav l'tfilo shalai. So I ask you a kasha, but the tzaddik's not around. So it must be what Zvi Kushelevsky held. It's still in effect, yeah? Especially, it's effective for children. Now, besides for the skula, says Rav Tzvi, I said, forget the skula. These are beautiful divrei Torah. That this mechaber knows how to explain the Torah with great amkos. Therefore, kol yoim. Now this is not a man who does skulas. He's learning shas and poiskim. Every single day I picked a shtickle Torah. Look at this. V'karasi l'shloisha anoshim. I read it to 3 people. V'amarti lohem divrei Torah mechaber v'hem nenu harbim. They were very nene. Besides that, now I'll tell you a personal story. I was at the kever of the Ben La'ashri. And I go to the kever, and I saw my Parsha sheet there. How in the world my Parsha sheet get there? Reb Tzvi brought it there on the yard side, and he left it there by accident. Ma'aseh Shahaya. Ma'aseh Shahaya. Okay? Amarti divrei Torah shemachal chol talmidei hayeshiva k'dosha. Reb Tzvi says, I said over divrei Torah on the yard side to all the talmidim. Va'ani olisi l'tziyunai. I went up to Zion. Va'asaper davar me'inyan. I want to tell you a story. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Originally, when Zvi sent me the letter, the story wasn't there. I said, I need the story in there. So they had to reconvene. It's a whole process, by the way. There's a koisev and a madfis and a mash. Sent it back. Here's the story. The first time I went to the Ben Lashvi's kever, haya kishayared geshem chazar karv l'shkia. It was pouring rain, and it was almost the end of the day. V'higati lahar hamnuchais. V'loi ro'isi af echad she'uchal l'shoy za'eva etzin sham mechaber. I didn't find anyone who I could ask where this kever is. Now I'll just tell you, between you and me, I'm going to tell you how to get there. When you go into Har Menuchais, you go into the main entrance, you look for a little blue boxed painted writing. It says HaTzadik Meranana. You make a right and you follow that blue writing. Every couple of feet there's like this blue HaTzadik Meranana. It tells you where to go. So you go right, make a left, down, you go down the steps. He has his own oyal. Okay. Now what's interesting, I'll tell you a different time. He has an oyal, yeah? For 30 years it was only him in the oyal. The last time I went, there's somebody else got into the oyal. Okay, a different story. He says, he was about to miss being at the kever of the Ben Lashvi on the yard site. Avol berega ha'achroin, the last moment, lefnei shkia, HaKadosh Baruch Hu shach elai tzaddik, Hashem sent me a tzaddik shaloi haya rogil histoivev sham, who didn't usually, walk around there. And in the pouring rain, he showed me the Tzion. Because I didn't have Yush, Hashem sent me the Yeshua. He says, "V'darko shel mechaber al HaTorah hu shekasav divrei Torah al derech pardes." He says the derech of the Ben Lashvi is to explain the Torah pshat, remez, drush, and soid. Sometimes pshat, sometimes remez, sometimes drush, and sometimes soid. Therefore, if you don't really know Kabbalah, it's very hard to explain it. And then here's where the plug for we come in. And he says, so therefore it's a good idea to collect the Divrei Torah. He writes a lot of nice things about me, but I'm not going to read them to you because I told him what to write. So I'm going to read it to you. I gave him I fed it to him, So anyway, fine. But he went along with it, So. Then in the next paragraphs he says, you need to know that all the schools in the world cannot help unless you're Mamin B'HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you're not Misyayish from being helped. Okay, so if a person has a tzara, no skula is going to work. You have to have emunah, and you can never give up hope. And a person has to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, look, this is what he writes. V'tzarech ha'adam lo yimar LaHaKadosh Baruch Hu, mikivan she'ata av harachaman. Rebbetzin Shem, you're our merciful Father. You want me to be happy. I ask of you, please bring me Heichal harachamim, to the chamber of mercy, shesham ein shum chet nichnas, that no sin enters this chamber. V'titen li esma shani tzarich, please give me what I need. You hear this? This is Rabbi Zvi Kushelevsky saying, if you need something, here's the formula. This is Oyam v'Naira, no? He says, if somebody needs something, person has to say, Hashem, you're my merciful Father. You want me to be happy. I ask you, please bring me into the Heichal of Rachamim, where no sin enters. Give me what I need. Uchsha'adam espalel umamin b'Hashem ve'enoi misya'ish zoicha liyeshua. Shkoyach. And then he gives me a bracha. But I didn't feed that. I didn't tell him he has to give me a bracha, but he did it anyway, which is very nice. And okay, now I'm going to tell you a personal miracle, the rest of the story. So I told you I wanted to give the shiur so that maybe people would find out about the skula of the HaTzadik, and then maybe one day it would be translated. So when I went into Art Scroll, I was telling them the story. And they're looking at me, come on, really? That's the miracle of Rabbi Zvi Kushelevsky, the Ben Lashri? Nobody ever heard that it had anything to do with the Ben Lashri. They said, actually, as we speak, coming out of the conveyor belt is the new Art Scroll book called Miracle Baby. You saw that book? You saw the book Miracle Baby? Yeah, Miracle Baby. I want you to know, first, I went to Miracle Baby, and I turned to the back, and there's a beautiful picture of the baby. And I had that picture. The Rebbetzin already sent me the picture. Right behind the baby, in the background. Bring me the Reb Meir Sefer. Look in the Art Scroll. Is the baby and Elokad Meir Anini Sefer. Okay? On the cover. Okay? So they said, wow, this book just came out. So I go to the book. They take me to the factory. I go to the book. I open the book. Page 1 that I opened to, thank you. Right. So the picture on the back of the Art Scroll book is the baby with Elokad Meir Anini. Open the book. The Rabbi Zvi Kushelevsky learned the Zera Shimshine. Page 2, Rabbi Zvi Kushelevsky learned Ben La'ashri. So okay, what do you have to do with it? The Rebbetzin said she started listening to the Shiurim over here in Kilas Tfilas Mordechai about the Ben La'ashri, and she heard about the Ben La'ashri from Glatstein, so she gave it to Rabbi Zvi Kushelevsky, and she forced him to learn his Divrei Torah. So that was a clincher. So Art Scroll said, okay, they agreed that they're going to be, that would be the next project, Be'ezus Hashem. Okay, so that's the story. So now what am I getting at? What I'm getting at tonight is the yard side. If anybody wants to be mishtadef with the projects of the Ben La'ashri, today is a very good opportunity. If anybody wants to participate in supporting this project, Tavay Aleichem Bracha. Okay, so that's, you could contact us on our site.